I was the quarterback on the football team that won the one game in 4 years or 4 years plus. I was there at the beginning of the so-called streak, and I was there at the end of the so-called streak. Capital High School had just opened up a few years prior, and I think that diluted the talent pool quite a bit.
The creation of Capital High School, and then more importantly, their success. You had some students that had transferred over to Capital to play. They were definitely on their way up. That was Coach Bill Moon's first tenure there, and he was clearly a school. He was actually building something. So yeah, there were kids that were making the choice. I'm going to stay at Capital, or I'm going to go live in this part of town, or parents are going to live in that part of town, because Santa Fe was just so bad. So why, if I want to play football, I'm going to go play for a coach that's actually building something rather than programs that are continuing to fail.
As the streak went along and gained momentum, I guess you could say, yeah, the morale was pretty low. You knew there were always people, I guess you could say, ridiculing the football team or the football players and stuff like that. But to be honest, I never really put too much thought into what those people were saying, because those were the people that weren't out there. They weren't the ones playing football. They didn't have the guts, I guess you could say, to get out there and play.
The morale was, it was ambivalent. That's the best way to describe it. It was, I'm a football player, and if we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. It doesn't really matter, because I'm still proud of the fact that I'm a football player and I can walk around with my jersey on game day and stuff like that. In week 3, we played against a Valley team, which was not so good. And but we were competitive, and we had chances. And after week 3, the kids realized we have a chance. We might be able to snatch a win. We can play with some people. And some kids started to believe. Aaron Olivares, the quarterback, he started to believe that he could make the reads. The offensive line started to solidify.
Go back the week before that game, we played Los Alamos. And at the time, I believe Los Alamos was ranked number 2 in 3A. They were a solid team that year. And for the first half of that game, we played really, really well. I want to say we were winning by 20 points at halftime against Los Alamos. Second half, totally different story. I remember throwing a few interceptions that were probably run back for touchdowns, and we kind of fell apart in that second half. But that first half against Los Alamos, we played really, really well, and I think we realized then what we could do if we knew our assignments, if we executed our assignments, and if we just played hard.
At that point in time, the kids realized they are there. They just have to take that next step of finishing a game, of ending that game. But that's the hardest step to take, because you can believe you can play. You can believe you can beat somebody. But you have to believe, and they say this in the NFL all the time, finish, finish, finish. You have to believe that in that fourth quarter on a close game, you're going to make the plays, and they're not. And for the first time ever, I think the biggest thing I remember about that game was Aaron Olivares, the quarterback, didn't know what to do on taking a knee.
We went into what's called a victory formation, which we had never done. I'm not even sure if we practiced that kind of formation. I remember snapping the ball, taking a knee, and then pretty much going into a fetal position, because Los Lunes, they didn't want to lose that game. They didn't want to be the ones that we beat to end the streak. Yeah, I remember taking that last snap and just turning and watching the scoreboard and watching the time run out, and it was a pretty good feeling right there. It felt like a big weight lifted off our shoulders, our chest, our back, everywhere. It felt like it was all the hard work we put in. It was finally worth it. Just for that, even just for that one game, to feel, hey, we won a game. We broke the streak. We don't have to hear about that stuff anymore.